Chapter 1 The Three. The sound of lapping waves upon the rocky shore filled the ears of the two adventurers. To their backs spread the endless expanse of the Atlantic Ocean. Their front faced an abyssal blackness of a newly formed cave. This was their destination on that cold autumn night. Douglas was a skilled rock climber and explored caves like this one in his free time. The headlamp atop his head had seen many wonderful things in his various explorations. The ropes and climbing tools hanging off his belt had seen their share of rock faces and long drops. His girlfriend Susan was not so adventurous. She fumbled with her headlamp in a frustrated frenzy. As much as she loved the man kneeling down in front of her, she had not wanted to come on this short journey outside their hometown. "How do you turn this damn thing on, Dougie?" she said. Douglas used the light on his head to check out the formations of the rock before him. Marks crisscrossed the rock and soil all around the tunnel-like cave. It was unlike anything he had seen before with any naturally made cavern. It looked as if it had been dug out. "You listening to me?" Susan asked. Douglas stood back up and answered, "Yeah, sorry, hun," before he reached up to his girlfriend's head and flicked on the headlamp. "Why are we out here anyways? It's freezing," said Susan, wrapping her arms around her chest. "We've walked out here how many times over the last few years," said Douglas. "And have you ever seen this cave?" Susan shrugged. "Maybe we just missed it." Douglas shook his head and said, "I don't think so. Look at the size of it. I can barely touch the top." He turned back into the mouth of the cave. He had no idea how far into the earth it descended, but he was ready to find out. He motioned for Susan to follow him and said, "Let's see how deep this thing goes." "Can't we come back during the day?" Susan asked. Douglas replied, "Wouldn't matter. Walk around one corner or go far enough and there's no light anyway. I want to blog about this before anyone else can. That reminds me, you got the camera?" Susan tapped her index finger on a camera hanging around her neck and gave him the thumbs up. She then reluctantly followed him into the darkness that awaited them. The tunnel wall surrounding the couple was smooth and damp. It twisted at a slight downward angle, taking them ever deeper. Every so often, Susan would snap a photograph of the walls, exposed roots or markings. The flash of the camera gave them a split second of complete illumination before being consumed by darkness again, save for the tight beams from their headlamps. After several minutes of careful progress, the couple found a fork in the tunnel. Douglas said, "What is this place?" "I don't know, but it's creepy. Can we please go back?" complained Susan. Douglas flopped his arms at his side and said, "Come on, we just got here. Where's your sense of adventure?" He was cut off by a scraping sound deep into the tunnel. It sounded like multiple knives cutting into the rock. Whatever it was, it sounded like it was coming closer. "What's that sound?" asked Douglas, squinting to see anything with his headlamp. Susan was slowly backing up as her fight-or-flight instinct started to take hold of her senses. She said, "Dougie, I want to go home." "Yeah, let's get out of here. Might be a bear or something," said Douglas. Behind him appeared two blue orbs. The azure light cast an eerie glow on the couple. Upon noticing the blue glow, Douglas turned, but before he could focus the orbs with the light of his headlamp, they were gone. The scraping sound echoed as whatever it was descended down the right-hand path. "What was that light?" Douglas asked. Susan was already hiking toward the entrance and muttered without turning, "Don't know, don't care, I'm getting out of here." Her walk turned into a jog as she left her boyfriend behind. She had apparently forgotten how slippery the ground was closer to the cavern's mouth because her boot skidded forward. She fell on her back. The tumble sent her headlamp off her head and into the darkness. She heard glass break as her camera hit the hard rock. Susan said, "Damn it all, Dougie, I need your light. I lost my head thingy and can't see anything." Her answer was the faint sound of the ocean's lapping waves beyond the cave. "Dougie?" she said, into the darkness. As the night gobbled up her words, Susan began to panic. She could barely see the twinkling stars in the night sky above her. Seeing the way out, she began sprinting. She slipped, but did not fall again. As she met the salty, open air, she stopped to take a breath. She looked back down at the cave and shouted, "Douglas!" Her boyfriend's name reverberated down into the pitch, but the words would not be answered by their intended receiver. Instead, she saw the blue orbs flash down below. "Stay back," Susan shouted, fumbling with her pack. "I have pepper spray." The blue orbs began hovering towards her, slowly at first, but speeding up the closer they got to the frightened woman. Susan froze as the orbs flashed from blue to red for the briefest of moments. The only thing she could get her body to do in response was press the shutter button on her camera. Its lens was broken from her fall, but she thought that the flash might give her an idea of what was chasing her. The bright flash of the bulb gave her a look at what was attached to those odd illuminated balls. She would have no time to ponder on it, however, as she soon met the same fate as her boyfriend. As the tide of the ocean before the cave rose, so did the onslaught of the things that dwelled under rock and foundation. Humanity was not ready for the threat that came from below. The world would bleed as civilization collapsed.